Like
Okay.
that, the most classic example, and every teacher, this will resonate with every teacher, is two kids are talking in class.
Oh, yeah.
And a teacher tells them, guys, stop talking.
Yeah.
And a kid will look you dead in your
Yeah.
eye and say, I wasn't talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they will lie about the thing that they know is true and that everyone in the room knows is true. Welcome to this week's episode of Teaching Keating. It is freezing today.
Yeah, hence the sweater.
It's
always
in
the
the time of year that we're
Yes,
filming this.
It's always cold this end of season
Yes.
until it's hot. But
the
there's
worst.
no in between. I know.
It's the
Your
worst.
least favorite time.
My least favorite time in
It's
Colorado
fine.
is when it's spring for everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's
Still cold here.
fall, spring. We alternate between summer and winter. And then all
But
of a sudden
it's like
summer.
the spring cold. So it's like spring, heavy, wet snow, rain, and then it'll immediately be like, oh, my garden, it's 75.
It sucks. I have a real
It's okay.
I have a real pity party about
know,
it.
it's okay.
I want to be on the beach. I want to be
know.
surfing.
Yeah.
Speaking of on the beach surfing, segue.
Great segue.
So bad. So bad. Molly and I have been watching 100-Foot Wave on HBO Max.
It's good.
And
There's 3 seasons.
Yes.
And you had watched the first season?
I had watched
maybe?
the first season.
Okay.
I remembered nothing.
Okay.
This
I don't
is-
know. I had never had any experience with it at all. I had never seen it.
This is the gift of having a bad memory. I get to watch things over and over as though I'm seeing them for the first time.
I guess so.
And
But
so
what are the perks?
Yeah. So we're
Okay.
watching 100-Foot Wave, and it's interesting.
Incredibly captivating television for a lot of reasons. Docuseries, it's really great. It's sort of just like the history of chasing the 100-foot wave.
Sorry. Pause. Sorry. I'm so sorry. We're on the wrong episode.
Why don't we just do this one?
Because she has the questions for why do
shit.
people lie, and I have that for that. Oh, jeez.
Dude, we're out
Holy
of it today.
shit.
We're not on.
I'm
we're not
so
on. We'll
sorry.
start over. Take 2.
I had
Sorry.
a panic moment. I was like, oh God, I
Sorry.
That's
well, we
on-
were talking
that's
about
on me.
100-foot wave,
That's on
and
me.
I said you drive. I was
That's on
going.
me.
Sorry, girl.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Are we doing the questions for this?
Yes. You have the questions for why do people lie. I realized I was going to keep going, but I was like, oh, Kaylee's got the questions for.
You could have just. We're doing this episode.
We're good.
Okay. Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We can
All right.
keep going. We can keep going.
All right. Take 2. And we're good this morning.
Yeah,
Here we
well,
go.
we're good. Welcome to this week's episode of Teaching Keating. Hi, Momo. We're talking
we're
about. Let's talk about liars today. Why do people lie?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
not
my
liars.
sister's
Okay.
line.
That's
yeah.
Let's talk about liars as an aggressive intro.
I mean, I think that we were talking about it because all of the we've had some issues with the children lately about not maybe being fully transparent
Yes.
about some certain behaviors, mostly
Yes.
related with their phones and some other things. But it was interesting to me. We were talking about it this morning about why are they lying when there's really no incentive to what is at the core of it? And I think that we had some interesting thoughts. So I don't know. I'll be interested to hear what yours are.
I don't know if we have any. Just spoiler alert. I don't know if we have any interesting thoughts or solutions.
Yeah.
I do
think there's a lot of behavioral and developmental stuff that goes along with lying and the age that kids are.
Totally.
However,
Totally. Here's the danger in
it's
doing a
not
podcast like
ideal.
the one that we do.
Sure.
I never want it to be perceived as though hey, Molly and Weston are doing a podcast on parenting because they think they have all the answers on parenting.
I mean, I don't think anyone
I don't think
thinks
we
that.
no.
I think if they would have listened to us for 10 minutes, they know that we don't have the answers to mostly everything.
No, but
so that's okay.
This is really just us processing.
Sure. It's something that has come up
Teaching
for us.
and marriage
Yes.
and parenting
Yeah.
and things that we care about.
Sure.
And this is one of those. And I do think there's a lot of parents out there who are just why do these mofos lie? We've told them hey, you can tell us the truth.
Yeah.
And yet kids will still lie.
And I think it's developmental because ours, they lie about stupid stuff. Not like anything. I think big stuff they tell us the truth about. I would hope that they do. That seems to be.
knock on
That
wood.
seems to be.
Up to this point,
yes.
that seems to
Their
track.
behaviors. That seems to track.
Yes.
Big stuff. They're they don't like it. They want to.
Yeah.
Sort of unload, which I appreciate.
They'll lie about little stuff
But they lie about dumb crap
hey,
all the time.
did you brush your teeth this morning? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd know that you didn't.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you didn't.
I know that your
gross.
teeth are wearing sweaters right now. Those things are aggressive. Like,
I don't know, but it is interesting. It's an interesting sort of format of like, and it used to happen to me in my classroom all the time. Like kids would lie about just dumb stuff. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about why kids lie and why adults lie.
Okay,
but
so
I'll
let's-
be interested to hear what your feedback is because I really think it's deeper than like, oh, just tell the truth, or oh, just don't lie.
yes.
Right? Like compulsively, like behavior wise. They just, there's a lot of path of least resistance, I feel like, when it comes to kids.
Well, that's what it is. So let's
Okay.
let's nerd out for a second,
ahead,
and then I want to ask you some
please.
questions, right?
Okay.
Like, so why do people lie? There's interesting research around this because this is not an isolated sort of thing.
No.
Like people tell little white lies,
Sure.
people tell big giant lies. People lie to themselves, people lie to other people.
Sure.
Why do people lie?
I think, go ahead.
Like all of the research will tell you, it is a defense mechanism
Okay.
against fear. They're afraid
Sure.
of retribution. They're afraid
Sure.
of ridicule.
Yeah.
They're afraid of like, hey, if I'm honest about this, then it means this, this, and this in terms of consequences.
Right.
Like it's really, really simple.
It's very avoidant behavior,
Totally.
right? Like especially in kids, like it's avoidant, and it's also a fear of like just being isolated. I would say, like they
How
just
so?
don't like they don't want to be isolated from being left out. So like if people know that was the behavior or that was the choice, then they're like, ooh, I don't want people to know that about me, so I'm just going to lie that that's not true, even though it is true.
Right.
Right. Like, oh, you took your friend. I mean, very minimal. Like you took your friend's pencil. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But yes, you did. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like dumb stuff. Like I don't want to be the one that took the thing that wasn't mine because I know that's not the correct behavior in the class, even though I did it because I needed the pencil at the time. It's just like dumb stuff
It
like
makes
that
no
all
sense.
the time.
And,
Right.
And kids especially, and adults too, like will lie even though people know they're lying. Like
Okay.
that, the most classic example, and every teacher, this will resonate with every teacher, is two kids are talking in class,
Oh, yeah.
and a teacher tells them, guys, stop talking.
Yeah.
And a kid will look you dead in your
Yeah.
eye and say, I wasn't talking.
Yeah, yeah.
And they will lie about the thing that they know is true and that everyone in the room knows is true. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's like you just don't want to be caught out in the behavior.
Right.
It's like a pure avoidance. I don't know, compulsive.
But I think it fits
avoidant.
I think it fits with what you're talking about. Is like kids don't want to be on an island.
Sure.
It's just like,
They
oh,
don't wanna
okay,
be
everyone
isolated.
else in the class was
Right.
doing the thing according to the expectation, and now if I'm honest, and instead of saying like I wasn't talking, if I say like, you know what, you're right, like
Sure.
I was talking, I apologize, I'll do better.
That's a mature thing that they need to do, right? Like that's like a high gradient skill to be able to like own your behavior in the moment. And a lot
Totally.
of times like kids just they're not going to do that. They just don't have the maturity to be able to do it. They'll be like, you're right. Sorry. Or but I also feel like I'll just keep talking about our own children. Like sometimes we'll ask a question like, are you doing this thing? And one or the other will just be like, sure, I did it. Because they just want to be moved on from the behavior.
Yeah.
So they just kind of own it to just be done with it. And they don't want to process it or move on with it at all. That's another, it's still out of avoidance.
I think that part of it's our fault.
Okay.
Because what they're doing in their
Oh, interesting.
brain, I think what they're doing in their brain in that moment.
like the adult's fault or your and I's fault, like as parents
You and
in our
me.
family. Okay.
You and
Sorry,
me.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
specify. Okay,
but I,
good.
but I don't
Okay.
think I don't think this is unique to us.
Okay.
I think what they're doing in that moment is they're hedging, and they're saying like,
Sure.
okay, like what is
What's the least amount of strife I'm gonna get
exactly
at any moment? Sure.
If I
Yeah.
just say like, okay, yeah, I brushed my teeth this morning, and then they believe it, I get to move on with my day.
Yeah, just like,
But
let's
if-
be done with this.
But if I say
Uh-huh.
no, I didn't brush my teeth this morning, like, okay. Now this is going to be a
Sure.
conversation. It's going to be a conversation I've heard before. I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And so like I think all of that is happening in like a microsecond.
Totally. And
in
I
our
think
kids' brains.
I would say that was the majority of things in terms of like the lies is that behavior right there.
But I think that's where we need to get better and be like,
Well, you and I are both micromanagers and oldest children, and we really sort of major in the minors about dumb things when we don't need to.
I
I
agree.
mean, look at our morning this morning.
how do we stop that?
Anyone?
I do want.
Anyone?
I do
Anyone
want.
want to
I do
help?
want to
Okay.
stop that.
Okay. And we care about different stuff. I care about consistent behaviors in the morning because little things lead to big things.
Yeah.
You don't care about any of that. Like prime example this morning, like, okay, so we're giving them, and again, this is on us, good reflective moment of like, we're giving them two different focuses. You're very focused outward and all the things they need to get done outside of the home, and I'm really focused inward.
Things like being on time. Like, hey,
Sure.
we're picking other people up this morning for
Yeah.
carpool. Like,
Yep.
dude, be on time.
Yes, but also you're the kind of person, and maybe this is difference between men and women's, like you can leave the house an utter shitstorm and pure chaos. Like you're not thinking about me in that moment, you're thinking about everything outwardly. So like it could be like a bomb went off and you're fine with it as long as you're on time. Right? Like
That is accurate.
Yeah. And I have a really hard time allowing that behavior outside of my house because that's only going to get worse as our children grow. So like that's not appropriate.
But
You can't hold on.
Okay.
You can't leave.
Just wanted to play some defense.
I know. You said what you need to say. I'm just saying, like, that's not an appropriate, like, you're not handling the business. You're not giving the illusion of responsibility. Like, the illusion of you being on time is like, everything else in my life is chaotic, but don't worry, I made it out the door on time.
But that's
somebody else has to deal with that.
But that's not my perception. My perception is like, okay, like which of these has the least number of negative consequences? And stick with me. And I'm like, okay, if we're all heading out the door and it's a disaster, like that negatively impacts us, the four of us. But if we're heading out the door and we're late, now we've negatively impacted this person, this person, this person, this person.
But that's your outward look versus your inward look versus like, okay, and granted we're talking about lying, but like I'm talking about like negatively impacting like behavior. So like,
Right.
so you're looking outwardly at all of these things that impact other people, but like those behaviors negatively impact our children and will continue to negatively impact them in their behavior in the future and their spouse. Like the things that are the most immediately impactful.
That's
If you
fair.
cannot handle cleaning up after yourself in your own room, it doesn't matter if you make it out the door on time.
That's fair.
It's all an illusion.
I
Because you can't handle yourself internally, just like your business in the day to day.
I do think there's validity in both of these things.
Sure.
Which
Agreed.
is like, okay, great.
Sure.
I'm glad they have both of us.
Great.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Is lying a natural part of childhood development, or is it a thing that always needs immediate correction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes to both. I think it's a natural behavior. We all do it. It's a natural human behavior. However, if you are not managing those behaviors in the moment, then they become part of your personality. We all know people who are just like straight full of shit all the time.
Yes.
Because their behaviors have come such way it's like made up lies or made up whatever excuses or whatever, right? That is now detrimental to their relationships, but it's ingrained in their personality and ingrained in their behaviors so much
Yeah.
part of their nature. It's just like,
it's become a habituated
It's
behavior.
habituated.
It's almost reflexive.
Right.
And that's
Right.
a place I think a lot of kids get to
Sure.
where
I
it's
don't
just
love
like
that.
like okay, I've processed this in the way that we talked about
Right.
just a second ago, but now it's just like okay, now they're not processing and sort of like weighing pros and cons.
Sure.
Now it's just like okay, this is a reflex.
Yes.
Like let me just say the thing you want to hear.
Exactly. And we've all had kids in our classrooms. And again, I do think it's really like deeply ingrained in kids' natures because some kids want to please more than others. Some kids don't care about that at all. You know, I'll just speak for myself. Like I was the type of kid, like I'm not a pleaser. I don't care. So for me, I was avoidant in the sense of like, I don't want to have this conversation with you, so I'll just lie about the whatever to get me out of this conversation. But not because I was uncomfortable having the conversation. It was like, I just, like, there was no purpose in it. You know, like, what's the point of this? Like, is there going to be any resolution? Is this going to get us to a different result? You know, like, I was playing those things out in my brain really early on, and pretty quickly I was like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, so the lie is better than the ultimate outcome of like telling the truth in this moment, right? If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just like there was not a better end result from telling the truth. So I just like I didn't want to lie. I just deferred to it because it was a faster path to just like getting whatever done.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Where I feel like that's true for a lot of kids. However, there are also a lot of kids who just want to please. And so whatever it is that's going to make you happy or make you get them to the best result to please you, they're going to say that thing. And I don't love that behavior because I think that's dangerous and that's harder to root out of a nature because you just want to say the thing that's right. And so you're constantly guessing at what's right rather than trying to say the thing that is true.
Rather than developing your own discernment about what's right. And what's interesting is I think...
So that needs to be
and I think
nipped quicker,
I think a lot of parents have the same scenario we have at home or in their classrooms or whatever it may be. Like I think we have one of each. I think we have a kid, one who lies from time to time because they're trying to avoid consequences, and I think we have another kid who lies because they just want to please us.
Sure.
And I'm angry about both of those things.
Neither one is better.
Because I do.
It's hard to root out in both.
I want
in
kids,
various personalities.
whether it's the kids we teach, whether kids we coach, whether that's the kids we raise in our own house. Like, I want them to trust that they can be honest with us. Yeah. But my next question is like, what role do parents play in teaching their kids to lie?
So I would say a lot there. I just think kids are gonna try to avoid consequences if they can, right? Like, so that's just developmentally appropriate. Some are gonna want to please more than others. And so I think that's intricate. Here's what I think as parents, we just have to have them practice telling us the truth all the time. And in order for them to be comfortable doing it, we also have to model that, And so I think we have to say, like, what I would like to be true in this moment is this, but what the actuality is this. And we just have to lay it all out there. Like, as parents, a lot of the time, like, we have to say the things that are true. We have to say the hard part out loud, and we have to show kids that, like, that's what you have to do all the time, because that's the nature of maturity. But also, if you're not saying what's true out loud all the time, then you get confused as a human being about, like, ooh, what is true? Is that the right thing? Is that the true case?
Right.
And if you're not saying it out loud, then you can't model it, one, but you're having a hard time discerning it too, and then they're going to be more confused about it.
Correct.
Does that make sense? So I think, like, you have to call it out for yourself, which is a really hard, high skill.
Super vulnerable.
Really hard. But especially as the authority and the parent, and it's a dance, because it's always like, I have to say what's true in this moment, but it doesn't make me not the authority, or it doesn't, there's not doubt there, and you don't need to have doubt as the kid, but we just need to call all of these things out for what is actually happening right now in the situation.
I think this is twofold. I think you've hit on the first one, and the first one is like, okay, do parents or do adults teach kids how to lie? Number one, yes, and what they model, which is what you just talked about. Like, if you model what it looks like to tell either big lies or little white lies over and over and over.
Or you just model constantly pleasing, whatever, and the kid's like, that's not the reality.
True.
I'm looking at this over here, and you're saying this thing. That's not a thing.
Like,
they do have a good temperature
for it. Here's the dirty little secret about kids. Kids are lie detectors themselves.
They are.
Like, they are lie detectors. And so if adults around them are lying to them, or they see them they catch that.
They do.
Like,
all the time.
We talk about kids all the time, like, oh, they think they're so clever. And kids are looking at us like, oh, adults think they're so clever. Like, they get it. They see us. So number one, like, the modeling part. Number two, I think it boils down to, we've said this word a couple of times on the podcast already, right? Trust. Yeah. Right? Trust is believable behavior over time. And there are two ways you build trust. You tell someone you're going to do something and you do it. Sure. Or you tell somebody you're not going to do something and you don't. Yes. That's how you build it. Yeah. And here's how you break trust. You tell somebody you're going to do something and you don't, or tell them you're not going to do something and you do. Yeah. And so, like, when we think about trust, like, yes, like, I think we, and I think parents and I think adults teach kids to lie because we tell them things like, hey, you can tell us the truth. Right. And then what happens is kids will practice that, and then there's still a consequence for honesty. Right. And so
which is hard. Go ahead.
So what they're telling us in that moment is like, okay, I trust that you're telling me I can tell you the truth. Right. But what I don't trust is that if I tell you the truth, it's going to lead down a pathway of fewer consequences or forgiveness or whatever it may be.
But the reality is, and this is just like a mature skill that you're going to have to learn, I mean, that we all learn as you get older, like, the reality is there is consequences for telling the truth. There always are.
Because just in the same way that there's consequences for lying.
Yes. So, like, those two things, they have to be comfortable with, like, there's just consequences for behavior.
Yes.
period. And that's the reality of life. And so you have to become accustomed to consequences for behaviors because that's reality, but also that doesn't remove you from saying what's true. And you have to practice like knowing that whatever the outcome is, you still have to practice like telling what's true because that will get easier over time. And then you'll have better discernment because then you'll be able to see it in others. You'll be able to see it in your relationships. You'll be able to see it in the world. You'll be able to see in all these other places. And the practice of being able to call out what's true and say it, no matter what the consequence is like a mature behavior.
Yes.
Right? Like I'll give you a perfect example. I had a really good friend in high school. I still have her. We're, life happens, so we're not as close as we used to be. But she would say to me, "Do you want to go X, Y, Z? I don't know." And I would say, "Sure." And then I would flake. And she finally called me on it one time and was like, "Why are you so flaky? It drives me insane." And I was like, "Listen, at the end of the day, I'm saying what's true to you. So like when you ask me to do something, I am telling you what's true, which is like, yes, I would like
Right.
to do it. That's not a lie." I said, what the struggle is for me, like the time frame in getting to the thing that you're actually asking me to do. And like, because I've said yes to all these other things, because I actually would like to do those are all still true, but I can't actually say yes to all these things and also accomplish them.
Sure.
And so you are my safest relationship. And because you're my safest relationship, I probably flake on you the most. Not because I don't want to do the thing. So like, I'm not trying to be
Oh, but
flaky.
that's so shitty. Like that has
I-
to feel terrible.
It did.
Sorry,
and
not to,
thank
like-
you very much
yeah.
for being honest.
Not to, like-
There's the truth, everyone. It is shitty, and it was shitty for me to say to her, like, "This
It's
is the
honest.
it." I was trying. I mean,
Yeah.
she called me out on it.
doesn't
She asked
feel
me what
great.
it was, and I told her in the moment, like, "Hey, so I've said yes to 5 other things before I get to you. It's not a lack of want on my part." Wanting to do all these things, it's a lack of time management in my ability to accomplish all these things in the time when I've said yes to. So you're the safest person, so I'm the one who ends up flaking on you because that is the safest relationship. I'm most secure in that relationship, so I'm sorry. And that's really crappy. And I realize that that's annoying about myself. But that is the God's honest truth. Then I got better at saying, because of that relationship, I got better at saying, like, again, pleasing. Like, I don't care so much about pleasing, but I do actually want to spend time and do the things that people ask me to do. And I care about these things. So I did say, like, I got to the point where it was like, "Would you like to do X, Y, Z?" And I would say, "Yes, I would. However, I have all these other things going on. Can we push it to another day? Can we do it a different time?
Right.
Or are you okay with us just like not doing it right now, but know that I'm thinking about you and I really care about you?" And that is the truth.
Yes.
But I don't have the bandwidth to say yes to all the things that you would like to relationally at this point. And that's just kind of where we are, because that's where we are in our life.
I mean,
and that
we
was a
talked
way
about-
higher level
Yeah,
skill. But
we
that's
talk-
like way beyond. So I hope the kids get there at some point
Yeah,
in your
and
classroom and
I
in
know
our
we
home.
I know we did
Yeah.
a podcast on adult friendships,
Sure.
but I'll tell you what, like I think a lot of adult friendships are suffering from exactly what you're talking about.
Sure.
Which is like, hey, I'm going to tell you yes.
Sure.
Because I love and care about
Right.
you. And also, I'm so overextended right now with all the stuff that we all have going
Sure.
on in our lives. Like,
And that was
Yeah.
like late high school into college. I mean, that was a long-standing relationship. Like, we had been friends all of high school, and I don't feel like she called me out about it probably till college, like early college. But really, at the end of the day, and that was when we had different time. Like, we were at different schools, and she was like, "Why are you saying yes to all this crap at Christmas when you've said yes to me?" And so I really had to have a hard look and to have a hard conversation in that moment about, like, hey, I'm not lying to you. I'm really not. I would actually, in my heart of hearts, like this to be true. It's just not at this moment. And I have to call that out too. But it is a hard skill. It's a really hard skill. And you have to be really secure in your relationships to be able to be honest with people.
Totally.
Here's another thing that we haven't
you
talked
have
about.
you have to trust.
Sure.
There's that word again,
Yeah.
right? That those relationships
Yeah.
are strong enough
Yes.
that you can be honest, and people are going to take that honesty and be forgiving. And
Yes.
yeah.
Like, and I would say, like, I think I'm an honest person, but there are definitely moments in my life where I have lied all the time. And I don't want to lie. It depends on the relationship too. This is going to be like maybe a little too much information, but I want to be able to share it in appropriate, like I would always be more honest with my dad than I would with my mom. I'd never wanted to lie to either one of them. And I would tell them the most true things that I possibly could. My mom is more fragile than my dad, period. And so I would tell her things not because I want to lie about them. It's like, oh, you're not in a place to be able to hear this at this point.
Right.
And I want to be able to be honest with you, but I can't because you can't hear this from me right now. You're not in a place to be able to receive it. And I think that's sort of a skill that maybe kids don't know that they have, but maybe that's a feeling that they have in those moments.
For sure.
Where they can't really label it as that, but they're like, "Ooh, I have a lot of heavy stuff to tell, and I don't know if the adult, whoever is around me, whether my teacher or my parents, has the capacity to receive what I have to tell at this point."
Well, that's terrifying.
And it is.
'Cause
But
I'm-
I would
'cause I'm
say that's a
sure-
real, that's a thing that happens, I would say, more often than I would like to admit.
I know.
Yeah. And developmentally.
And I'm sure it happens in our house too.
I'm sure it does.
I'm sure.
Mom and
here's-
dad are not
here's-
in a place to be able to hear
here's-
this or
here's my-
receive what I have to say at this point.
Here's
Yeah.
my hope, and then I want
Yeah.
to move on to our next segment.
Sure.
My hope is that, at least, my hope is that both of our children are at least being truthful to one of us,
I hope so.
even though they think
Mm-hmm.
the other one might be too fragile to hear the thing.
Yeah, it's
Man.
really hard.
We
And
got-
the adults, I mean, it's just a good question to ask because I
We
don't know.
gotta talk to them about this. Okay,
Not easy.
We've got some homework. But
we
before
do.
before we close out the podcast
Sure.
here, I want to try a new segment. He said, she said.
Okay, can't wait.
We're still working on.
Yeah.
If, you
We're
you
trying
don't
a
love
lot of
that.
things.
Here's what's about to happen. Kaylee's
Yeah.
going to ask us a handful of questions.
Great.
And this is, we're just going to answer them
know
newlywed
where
game
mine is.
Molly
That's-
Molly doesn't know what these
I
questions
don't know
are.
where mine is. Do you have both?
I don't know where yours is.
I don't know. Did I hide
Did you put it under your chair? Yeah.
Sorry.
So Kaylee is going to ask us some questions. We have not seen these questions. They are in the theme of lying and truth and trust and all of the good stuff.
Great.
Molly and I don't
We've
know what
had
the
such
questions
good
are.
things.
She's going to ask
Okay.
them. We're going to answer them, and then we are going to show and reveal at the same time
Okay.
to see how well
Great.
we don't know each other.
You need to write really legibly.
I will write legibly. You
Okay.
need to write large.
I'll try.
Okay.
I mean, hopefully everyone can read my cursive.
All right,
but
Kaylee,
I
let's
don't
get
know.
after it.
Here we go.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
Yes, let's do it.
No, we're not
I don't
ready.
know if we are.
But let's
We're
go
gonna
for
do
it.
it. Yeah, yeah.
All right, first question. Who is more likely to tell a little white lie to get out of a social event?
Oh, out of a social event. Okay, this is really good. But I don't know if it's going to be true or not. We'll see, and we're going to tell everybody. Okay.
All right, let's reveal in 3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
look at that.
100% chance.
You
100%.
Oh,
yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I.
all the time
you.
out of social events.
You were just talking
Like,
about
all the
like,
time.
oh, you know,
Yeah.
like I'll flake.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, I
about
won't flake because I don't like to be flaky.
Sure.
But I also don't love social events.
No, you don't. You actually, this is funny because I was going to say an addendum. Like, you actually, I think you'll try to say something that is probably the most true, like as an excuse to get out of it. Like, you'll try to find something true
Yes.
to align with
Yes.
why you actually need to get out of the social event. Although it'll just, like, I'll be like, this is BS all the time. But you'll try to make it as true as possible, like an actual legit thing.
Yes.
To be able to get out of it.
Yes.
Very rarely do you actually like succeed
No,
in making it legit?
Because I'm also the Larry David of social events. I'll say yes to things, and then immediately will
Yeah.
regret having said yes to the thing. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
Lot
All
of
right,
buyer's remorse.
so far so good.
Okay, good.
We got a point.
This is great.
Good, Kaylee. What do you
Woohoo.
got?
All right. What's the most common lie parents tell their kids that you both secretly agree with?
What's the most common lie
that is really
parents tell their
hard.
kids
that
we both secretly agree with? Oh, I've got one.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm dying to know what your answer
I
is to
don't
this one.
know. Because I don't know if I can't be this specific. Okay. All right. Ready?
All right, ready?
3,
Show.
2, 1.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
Santa.
I'm thinking
I went
like,
way lower gradient
you
than you
did.
did.
That's why, like, that's how our brains work. Like, I'm always, like, super in there. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, like, when you fall down on the playground. Like, you're okay.
Oh,
Got
got it.
You're fine. Even though it was like, oh, did you actually twist your ankle?
I
or
think-
you're really hurt?
I
Like,
actually think that's an okay lie.
That's
like when,
what I'm-
like kids fall down. Like, hey, you're gonna be okay. Like there are times when they might not be okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of one, like, our daughter, like, twisted her ankle at dance, and we're like, you're okay. And she actually broke it.
And she actually
so she
wasn't okay.
She, like, walked on it for a day and
But
was
it
like,
is
"Ooh,
true.
like, really.
She was gonna be okay.
Yes,
Do you think-
theoretically in the future, they will be, but also, I don't know. That can get kind of dicey if you don't take it seriously. All the time.
Also, we should have said like if you're
Yeah.
listening
Yeah.
to your kids
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
listening with your kids in the car or
Sure.
something, I'm so sorry.
Right, but also you can't feed their like drama all the time too. Like I'll just say, like Everett has a couple friends, and some of them tend to have a flair for the dramatic when it comes to injuries,
Oh,
and
yes.
so it's hard to tell
Yes.
all the time.
They need to be told more. You're gonna be
Yeah,
okay.
and I feel like had that child been told like you're probably good, but let's check it out. You
Yeah.
know, like they take it a little too seriously, and then this child thinks like, their leg's gonna fall off all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's hard. It gets dicey. You never know.
All right.
More questions.
Right. Who is more likely to say I'm fine when they're clearly not and mean the opposite?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Yay!
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I mean, I didn't think we were gonna get like really good at these, but we're pretty good.
Nobody.
Yeah.
No, sorry. No
Yeah.
husband who is listening right now is
Okay.
surprised by this.
No, I
we've-
don't- okay.
We've talked about this before.
Sure.
I really don't understand the whole like, hey, is everything okay? I'm fine.
I actually don't ever really say I'm fine. I say I'm good. But I'm good means I'm not ready to talk about it with you right now. You need to give me more space. Don't ask me. Like, why are you asking me right now? If you wonder why you're getting your head bit off, it's
I would
because
prefer
you're
the
asking
honesty
me.
of that.
No, it's just that's not always okay. This isn't a moment where I'm like not trying to lie, but I'm also not trying to give you a dissertation about why this is the inappropriate moment to ask me this really intense question that I don't have time to answer.
This
right?
really intense
That's
question.
the answer.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm good.
So my kids ask
like,
me.
"Oh, you
So
are not
this
good."
this is a thing because Charlotte has started asking me like, "Ugh, are you okay?" But it's
Which you
totally because it's an accusation.
Yeah.
Which she already knows the answer to, just like you do. Like clearly I'm not. But do you want the full-on monologue about why that's not true right now? No, you don't. So don't even ask me in the moment. Just
That
don't
is-
ask me
that
if
is
I'm
true.
okay. That's why I get
That is true
pissed.
because when I'm actually asking,
Yes, I know what
I'm
you're
not
actually asking.
I am asking, are you okay? But what
No,
I'm
you're
really
not.
asking is like,
No, you're not.
Boy, you're being a real nightmare
Totally.
right now.
So
What's
is she.
this all about?
So is she.
Okay.
Mom,
All right, that's
you're
fair.
so extra right now.
Okay, great. So we're
Are
both-
you okay?
So we're both lying to each
Hell
other in
no,
that moment.
I'm not. But why are you asking me right before I drop you off
Next
at
question,
school?
Kaylee.
Sorry. Okay.
Who's better at spotting a lie, especially when the kids are involved?
Ooh.
Who's better at spotting a lie, especially when the kids are involved?
I don't know if you can see my answer.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's, yeah, sorry.
That one hurt me to write down.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That one hurt me.
But
But if I'm being honest,
yeah.
if I'm being truthful with myself
thank
and
you.
not lying
Good
to
job.
myself,
Good job. I appreciate that.
You are better,
Yeah.
especially with Charlotte. Our daughter never lies. She's the greatest person ever. She's the
She
sweetest
lied
person.
to you last night.
She would never lie to me.
You literally caught her in a lie, and she was
know.
like,
I know.
"Yeah."
And
But
there've been so-
like,
there's
and
been-
then she was, but it was you and not me, and so she knew like I'm not gonna get
And
in
there've
a
been
lot
s-
of trouble for this.
There have also been so
I'll
many
just,
times
like,
where you've said like, "Hey, she's lying to you," and I'm like,
to your face.
gasp!
How
like,
dare
no,
you think? And I'm like,
no.
she is running you.
Okay, I got to get better at that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. We're all working.
Oh, what a terrible idea
I
this
know.
segment was. It's
Okay,
hurtful.
good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's more likely to exaggerate a story when telling it to friends or family?
I can't
3,
write
2,
it fast
1.
enough.
100%.
All the time. All the
I
time.
love. It's because I
Have
love.
anyone seen the podcast?
I
Have you
love-
heard him tell a story?
I love a good story.
Oh, we
I
know.
love a good
We're
story.
so ready. We
and
know.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna let a little thing like
The
facts
truth.
and details. No, every story that I
Really?
tell,
Real big fish over here.
every story that I
Real
tell
big
is
fish.
a version of truth.
Uh-huh.
But I'll tell you what, like if you're gonna tell a good
You're
story,
doing it now.
the more imaginative and wonderful it can be. Like
yeah. You are a great storyteller.
I am.
You are.
I am.
Yeah.
I love a good story.
I know you do, but sometimes we just need to get to the point.
Here's
or
what's so
get to the
frustrating.
truth.
I'll be telling a story, and Molly will get so caught up in a minuscule detail of the story. Like, no, it wasn't 2009. It was 2010.
Because I like the truth.
I don't care.
I
is
know.
That is a detail that has no material impact on the story.
It actually does if it's factual and it's what happened. So I do.
This is where
I am really.
This is where you and I see it
I do
differently.
really like
I
the
think,
meat
I think
of
lying
those
and
things.
imaginative storytelling are not the same things.
They are,
Okay.
but potato.
Next
Yeah.
question. Potato. Awesome potato.
Okay,
Potato
yeah.
and scalloped
Moving
potato.
on with the question.
You want like a dry baked
Okay.
potato.
No,
I want to
just
scallop that
want
potato.
what it is. I don't want a potato versus an orange. If it's a potato,
That's
it
not.
is. Kind of though.
Never.
Yes, all the time. Okay.
Let's go.
Anyway, sorry, Kaylee.
No worries.
How many more questions do we have?
Yeah, two more
Okay.
questions.
Okay,
Okay,
two more
great,
questions.
Great, we got it.
Okay. What's one lie you've told each other that you can laugh about now?
Oh gosh, all the time.
Oh. I'm worried about how quickly you're writing down your answer. What's one lie
Oh my
that
gosh.
we've told each other
Yeah.
that we can laugh about now?
I mean, I have one for you, but go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I'll jot one down, but
Okay,
I'm curious.
Good.
I'm curious what yours is.
Oh, you're not. You're gonna know it exactly. I mean, when you read it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, show.
Go. Sorry, can you
didn't-
read it?
I didn't
spend
spend that
money.
much.
Yeah, I didn't spend that much. That's a lie that I tell you all the time.
Yes, you do tell me that
But
lie
that's a
all the time.
protective lie. Like I was saying to my mom, like you're not in a place
No,
to receive
I'm
the
calling
actual
bullshit. No,
monetary amount that I spent.
That is protective for you, not for me.
It's protective for both of us.
I know that you spent it.
We have a joint account.
We have
I
joint
know
bank accounts.
That
I
you
know-
know that
I know
I
where
spent
every
it.
penny
But when you
goes.
ask, you're not in the place to hear it. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. So I'd rather just be
I
like,
already
sure, I
know
didn't
it.
spend that much. No, you don't. You look at it after the fact, and then you'll be mad. But it's okay for me to tell you in the moment. I just need to pad it a little bit because you just really have a hard time receiving that.
Oh boy.
You do.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Sorry,
fair.
what was yours? Keep
I
going.
like snuggling on the couch. I really don't. I don't. We got two couches now in our living room.
I don't think you ever. I don't think that that's
Here's
true
the thing,
of you.
because I like snuggling with you. I like to be close to you. But at night, like when we're watching
Oh,
something,
this is funny.
I
This
used
is
to be like,
funny
yeah,
and
do you want to
true.
snuggle on the couch? And then we would start snuggling on the couch, and I'm like, oh my god, you're
But you
1,000
asked
degrees.
the question.
You are 1,000 degrees
That is
Fahrenheit.
really funny.
Because I love you and I want to be close to you. But when we're like watching like a game or something on the
Yeah.
couch, I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
oh, can you?
That's how I feel about the money. I
Okay.
love you and I want to tell you the truth.
Okay. What did you think I was gonna write?
I thought you were going to write something around like how when people, like you're remembering people's names or you remember people's stories and you are like, yeah, that totally happened. You never remember.
Oh, that's true.
You lie
That's
about
true.
that all the time.
You're like, hey, do you remember when I told you about? And I was like,
You're
yeah.
like, yeah, all the
Yeah,
time. And I was
totally.
like, no,
I have
you
not a
don't.
clue
You
what
don't
you're
have a
talking about.
clue.
No.
And that happens probably 95% of the time.
Yeah.
You lie about that all the time.
Okay, last
okay,
question.
last question. We got it.
All right. Actually, it's two more questions.
Okay, two more.
That's all
Great.
right. If one's
Keep
better
'em-
than the
keep
other,
'em
if you want,
going.
let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. When it comes to lying to protect someone's feelings, who in your family does it more often?
Are we talking about all four of us or are we talking about just two of us?
All four of us. Let's go all four of
Okay.
us.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, show.
I said Ev/you.
Okay, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
The person who
Yeah.
lies to protect other people's feelings
Yeah.
is Everett.
Yeah.
Because
First.
he has such a sweet heart.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to hurt
No.
anyone.
No.
He
Yeah, but it's
probably
bad.
learns that from me.
Yes. Yeah, direct result. Shar and I,
No.
stone cold.
You and Charlotte, I wish would lie a
We're a
little bit
little
more to
dead
protect our
inside.
feelings.
We did.
It doesn't always have to be as
It's a
honest
little
as
harsh.
the two of you
yeah.
make it.
So I said that to her in the car. I was giving her, just dropping off the other day, and she said something. She was giving me a story about how she said something to one of her friends, and I was like, whoa, that was a little harsh. And she was like, well, it's the truth. And I go, okay,
Yeah.
you totally get that from me. Very fair. But sometimes that's really hard to hear. Maybe you should say it, just like try to be like a little kinder with your
Yeah.
words, because that was so hard. She's like, well, what did she want? Did she want me to tell her the truth?
Yeah.
And she was like, I asked her, do you want me to lie to you? And she said, no, I want the truth. And she's like, well, you got it. And I
Well,
was like,
you sharpen that
I
stick.
know. And I had a moment where I was
and
like,
it,
whoa.
And it pokes all of us now.
I know.
I came down
I
the stairs the
know.
other day,
Oh,
and I was wearing a
gosh.
pair of
Yeah.
shorts
Yeah.
that were like a little more schmedium than I typically wear. And I came down, and my daughter looks at me and goes, "You don't have the legs for those."
Okay. I didn't even know this happened, but that's
I
probably
was
true.
like, oh,
Okay. Okay,
thank
I'll
you.
go back and change.
Also changed immediately.
Of course you did.
All right, last
It's
question.
okay.
Let's go.
do it. Honesty, some of us more
Yeah.
than others.
All right,
Good.
last
Yeah.
question.
'Kay.
If lying burned calories, who would be
Ooh.
the skinniest in the house?
Oh.
If lying burned calories, who would be the skinniest in the house?
I don't know, because I'm really. Yeah. Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
We said the two. I said
No.
do too. Okay, we need some clarity here.
No.
Because
Here's my clarity.
we just said Everett lies the most to avoid feelings.
Here's the clarity that I'm giving.
Okay, please.
Everett lies. You and Charlotte don't lie to protect anyone's feelings. But you and Charlotte will lie most when it's advantageous to the two of you.
Oh, that's funny. I would say her. I say I am Okay, hold on. I would say I lie most for avoidant of hurt, right? Like I am. I'm not trying to protect people's feelings, but I realize I'm so harsh and mean sometimes. It's the same thing I was saying about my mom. Like, ooh, I'm not in a place to like say that really nicely. So I just need to shut this down right now with some sort of lie. Because otherwise
You
I'm going to
won't lie.
be too
You
harsh.
won't lie in that moment. You just won't say it.
Okay, that's true.
And but again, that's.
I try
to-
not to lie. So
Yes.
you're right. I'm avoidant. Like I avoid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if it's something like spending money, you'll lie about that because it protects you from
No,
from
it
me being
protects
angry
me.
in that moment.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're pretty consistent about the things you get heated about. So I am avoidant when it comes to making you heated.
No, you are not.
I mean,
You're
when
avoidant about making me heated about things that have to do with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Potato.
All right.
But yeah, great. Great.
All right.
All right.
I like that.
Okay, well, let's hope like
Let's do
we're
it again.
moving in the right directions about like not getting them to lie, or we're,
I mean, God, let's hope so.
I don't know, and I really want to entice them in like more positive behaviors, but I don't know how you do that. Like even if you get less trouble when you lie, you're still some amount of trouble because there was a lie. I don't know. I don't know how to entice kids to tell the truth, or adults, to avoid the consequences, because at the end of the day, like you're just gonna be mad about money. I'm not going to avoid those consequences.
I'm going to check our bank
I
account
know
as soon
you
as this
are.
podcast
I'm
is over.
sure you will.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Teaching Keating. As always, catch us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Find us on YouTube.
Yes, please.
You can find me at home.
I know.
This next week. Which is
I know. Really
wonderful.
exciting.
Super
Yeah,
excited about
yeah.
it. Molly, where can we find you?
You're going to find me in the car getting ready, because I know we talked about this last time, but Everett's going to be driving, so I'll be in the passenger seat because he needs his hours before he gets his license this summer. So we're just really going to do that. So say your prayers,
Lie to him
everybody.
about how good of a job he's doing. We'll see you guys on next week's episode. Be well.